Welcome to Food Talk Live with Farmer Street Pantry. My name is Lynn, and today we're going to go on a 15-minute tropical fruit escape. And I thought it would be a nice time to do this coming up to Mother's Day, and we're going to make a wonderful tropical fruit salad in celebration. So let's get started. The major concept that I want to cover today is barreling. And this is a knife skill that has many, many applications, especially with fruit, because it's a safer way than holding the fruit in your hand and using a large knife. So I have a variety of fruits that I wanted to demonstrate that you could use this with. We've got pineapple, mango, orange, kiwi, papaya, but you can also extend it. We're not going to do it today, to fruits that aren't tropical but are very popular. We have watermelon, always a picnic favorite, and cantaloupe too. So you can use barreling on those fruits as well. So let's get started. I want to go small first to begin with and use an orange. Now I always start my fruit salads with an orange because it has a lot of juice, which has vitamin C and prevents discoloration in other fruits like apples and bananas. So I want to have a knife which is appropriately sized to a smaller fruit. So I have a small serrated knife here. You want to make sure that your knives are in keeping with the task at hand. So you don't want something that's too big, that's unwieldy, that you can't handle in a small format. And by the same token, you also don't want to use a very small knife with a big job, because you're going to hurt yourself and take too much time. So size the knife appropriately. Okay, so barreling is, as the name implies, the goal of creating the shape of a barrel so that you can set one end down on the counter and have that steady. So with an orange, we're going to take off the top and the bottom, and then follow what you would imagine to be the staves of the barrel, keeping the knife between the flesh and the pith. This is the pith. I don't have a lisp. That's the part that is has a lot of bitterness in it, but it also has a lot of flavor too. So you want to save your orange peels as you go along. I don't throw these away. I like to put them in to syrups and grind them up, put them in barbecue sauce is also great. So save your peels. All right, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going around the sides of the fruit and following the curvature and taking off as much of the skin as I possibly can to expose the segments for an orange. And you can use this technique also with grapefruit too. I love grapefruit and banana salad, and so in just a couple of minutes you can make yourself something really fresh and really healthy. Okay, so skins I'm going to save, peels, and here we have the cleaned up fruit. There's a little bit of pith still, but we can work around it. So what we're going to do is go between the fibers that separate the segments, run our knife down to the core. Sometimes you can just lift it up and take out the segment. If not, just cut down the other side, and there you have a nice clean segment. The French call these supremes, my favorite childhood group. So you just continue around and get your segments. This is a Caracara Orange. It's a little more delicate than a navel orange. So it's falling apart a little bit, but not too badly. Okay, and then when you have the final structure, the skeleton, just give it a good squeeze, and in it goes. Okay, so that's how you barrel up an orange. I'm just going to cut these pieces into a little more bite size. Okay, now we're going to move on to a fruit that just is so great for both desserts and also savory cooking, a mango. And a mango also responds well to barreling, but there are other ways that techniques that you can use where you just cut down each side and you can cross hatch it and scoop it out, and you have these nice squares of fresh mango. I want to barrel this because sometimes the shape of fruit changes the flavor. It's like pasta. We have a million shapes of pasta, and they might be made of the same ingredients, but they taste differently. Our perception of flavor is different because of the shape. So I think same with fruit. So I like to have a little more control and just use the barreling technique to take the skin off, and then you have more options as to the shape that you want to work with. Okay, so mango. This one is very nice and soft. Might be a little too soft, but we can cut out any overly ripe pieces. So lay it on its side, take the bottom off, take the top off. And you can kind of see how the pit in the mango is kind of lengthwise on this axis. So you want to follow that. You want to run your knife on either side of that ultimately after we get the skin off, because it's a big pit. But first let's barrel it. So again, put your fruit down on the cutting board so it's secure. You're not, handling it up in the air and waving your knife around like that. Always work from a place of security. Keep your fingers behind the blade, and we're going to barrel. Oh, this is nice and ripe. Just follow the contours as though they're barrel staves. When you cut your own fruit up and you don't buy the pre-packaged, pre-cut stuff, you'll find it lasts longer in your fridge. I don't know about you, but sometimes you go home and in a couple of days, what you just purchased from the store is now starting to smell like fruit wine or fruit vinegar. So if you cut up your own fruit at home, you will save yourself money. You'll save packaging. It's good for the planet, and you'll have a fresher experience with your food. So going for the longer axis, running the knife down. I'm hoping that I'm going to find the right axis. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's one cut. We have 1/2. We'll put that there. The other half. And now we'll just cut the extra that's hanging on to around the pit. The mango has, when it's ripe like this, it's just beautiful. It makes a beautiful puree. If you've never pured up mango puree, the juice is just a wonderful accompaniment to so many things. So here's the, just going to try to shave off a little more juice. So here's the pit. You can see it's skinny but wide, and that's what you have to work around. But don't let that deter you. If you weren't with me right now, I would probably be sucking the rest of the juice off of this, but I don't. We won't go there right now. Okay, so just cutting up the rest of the segments. I'm gonna do just some thinner slices of mango and into our Mother's Day fruit salad. Okay. All right. Next fruit that we're going to work with is a papaya. Now, I don't know if you've worked with papaya before, but there are a lot of health benefits from papaya. In Asian cooking, they will use green papaya. which is unripe papaya in salads and so forth. This is a riper papaya. It has some give and the skin is starting to turn yellow. It might be a day or two away from optimal ripeness, but we're going to work with it today nonetheless. Now, it's a big fruit and it doesn't last quite as long as, let's say, a pineapple after you cut it up in the fridge. So I'm only going to do half of this today, and we're going to barrel technique the one half. The other half, you can just turn it over, put it on a plate, put it in the fridge, and then you'll have it ready to go for the next fruit salad adventure that you do. Now, we're working with a bigger fruit, so bigger knife. This is a beautiful serrated knife that's really well balanced. It's Japanese, but you can also use one of your favorite chef's knives if they're nice and sharp. Again, looking for good sharp blade and something that you're comfortable using and and can handle the job, is strong enough to handle the job. So papaya, we're going to cut it in half and look at that beautiful interior with the coral colored flesh and the nice seeds. So so anyway, we're going to set this half onto the plate and we're going to work with this half. So let's get the seeds out. The seeds, from what I understand, you can use as a something to steep for a tea, and I have to frankly learn all the other uses, but supposedly they have a lot of health benefits. Okay. So we already have the bottom of our barrel. We need to cut off the top. So let's do that. And then we're going to follow the shape going around. Yep, this could use maybe another day of ripening, but it's maybe even just 12 hours. I don't know, but it feels pretty good. Okay, so we have our barreled papaya, and now we're ready to just make that a part of our salad. Okay. Look at the color. Oh, there's a seed. Isn't that beautiful? I wish you all were here with me and you could share this. Now, remember I said you always want to keep the fruit down on the chopping block. It's tempting to violate that rule, but keep it down unless you're doing supremes of orange segments. But for the most part, you should always keep it down on the cutting board when you can. Okay, papaya is in, looking great. All right, moving along to the showstopper, pineapple. Oh my gosh, this one smells really great. Pineapple looks like an armadillo and a porcupine had a fruit baby, but don't be afraid of it. It's easy to work with. It really is. You just need a good strong knife and a barreling technique. Again, there are lots of different techniques out there where you keep the skin on and then you saw it off at the end. I prefer to use the barrel technique. So head, bottom, and then barreling the sides. If you leave some of the eyes on, that's fine. This is very ripe. This might be 12 hours a little too ripe, but it smells great. It smells like a tropical escape. Okay. Alrighty. Now, to get to, I'm not going to go crazy about the eyes because there aren't that many. But you can go back if they really annoy you. You can go back and you can cut them out, or you can just shave it down a little bit more. Whatever your taste is. But let's get it cored now. To core, I cut in half, and then I cut into quarters. And oftentimes, if I'm going to refrigerate it, I'll just leave the core on, and just to hold it together a little bit, keep it fresh, and then just cut it right before I'm going to use it. But I'll use 2 quarters for what we're doing today. Okay, into the salad they go. Lots of questions. This is awesome. That's great, gang. We'll get to them in just a minute. Okay, now someone asked me about baking with exotic fruit. And because there's a lot of water in it, it will typically, tropical fruits will fall apart. Exception to that is a pineapple. A pineapple, you can make pineapple upside down cake, of course, pineapple tarts and so forth. So pineapple holds up really, really well baking. Most everything else, if you're going to be baking with it per se, I would use the dried version of it. You can find dried papaya, dried mango, or use it as a puree with, you could maybe replace some of the oil with some pureed fruit like you do with applesauce. I haven't tried it, but maybe that's what you can do. Okay, last fruit, but not least, the kiwi. And kiwi is wonderful. Again, it looks like this little hairy critter, but delicious, filled with vitamin C. And you want to see that they're a little bit soft to know that they're ripe enough. And for those of you that have little ones, and I know there's some of you out there, these are really fun for kids. If they're just getting to be soft, cut it in half, give them a little metal spoon, and they can scoop out right out of the skin the pulp. And it's delicious. It's kind of sweet tart and very good for them. And it's kind of fun. And then you can just throw away the skin or compost it, whatever you prefer. Anyway, perfect candidate for barreling. Top, bottom. Let's barrel this sucker. And kiwi is great with strawberries, beautiful at Christmas time. So don't be afraid of using kiwis. I overcut this a little bit, but that's a kiwi. And we're going to do full slices. Aren't they gorgeous? And with a glass bowl, you can put them right around the sides. And it's a beautiful thing. Okay. All right, and so that's it. Let me get to some of your questions right now. Here we go. This is the beginning. I would probably add some red fruits to this too. Maybe some red grapes are certainly very available. Get some organic red grapes or strawberries to add a little bit of color. But it's so fun to have tropical fruit, and it just makes a celebration feel special. Okay, so we spoke about baking with tropical fruit. Another question came through on passion fruit and what can you do with it. They have some passion fruit that's been sweetened, and they, had wanted to put it in juices and so forth, but passion fruit makes a wonderful ice cream. It makes a great mousse. It just has such a delicious effect on your palate that if you have some passion fruit, I would try that. Make a sorbet out of it. Send in your suggestions. Put them in the comments below if you have some ideas of what else you can do with passion fruit. So let's see. Okay, so comment on Okay, so complications with grapefruit skin. Yes, some people are on medication, statins, and they might be compromised if they have consumed grapefruit skin. Yeah, absolutely. I would substitute orange or lemon peel, and and you should be okay. I do know that can be a complication. So anyway, well, if there's something else, please send us comments or questions. I really appreciate you being here today. It's been quite a unusual time, so I hope that your tropical fruit salad, your tropical fruit escape can give you a little bit of something else to think about for a while. So thanks so much. This is Lynn from Farmer Street Pantry. Be well, be healthy, and we'll see you next time.